Welcome back to the Wellhouse Exorcism. This is your ghost of a host with the most, Shanna.
This is Pawleys PJ.
Why are you laughing?
You made finger motions.
I'm in it.
And we begin.
It's a whole new thing.
The crescendo.
We just watched a choral concert. I am just, directing.
Keeping time.
Today, hello everyone. Today starts a brand new portion of the pod. People have been begging me to start posting twice a week instead of once, and gosh darn it, let's do it. If I could do it without you, no. I will hopefully be posting every Wednesday night / Thursday morning.
That's what we're going to aim for, yeah.
Yeah, however, I do have a few more Girl Scout meetings, which are on Wednesdays, so it might impact the next 2 months.
The Girl Scouts.
As Alex calls them. But anyway, if this goes as well as we hope and we get positive feedback, then heck yeah, I'm going to do it every Wednesday and every Sunday. Here we go.
Right.
So PJ and I have 2 different names for this. I want to call this midweek episode slot the Mini Hexes. What did you have?
Midweek Monsters.
Oh, that's a good one too. All right, so we're going to call it Mini Hexes for the first episode, but we want to poll, so everyone who's listening, when you decide, do you like Mini Hexes or Midweek Monsters?
Yes.
It's not always going to be about monsters, though.
I know. That's the thing. Like, I know you're not a fan of monsters and cryptids, so I'm like, that's what these little episodes could be about.
Okay, well, anyway, what I say, according to my script that I wrote, the episodes will consist of places that may or may not be in Pennsylvania, but they're stories that can be told in about 30 minutes. Mm-hmm. Because, I have so many cool little stories, but it's not enough for a full episode.
Yeah.
So for my first episode of Mini Hexes, Pawleys Island.
Yep.
Not you.
Uh-huh.
And I also would like to put a correction in here for our French listeners. I just agree with PJ last week, because I don't mean, but if you were to pronounce his name...
No, she didn't realize it. She didn't catch it.
If you would like to pronounce his name in French, it would not be Page.
It's Page.
Yes, there we go. Anyway, my reference is...
I remember that now because Ashijika. Elemenope.
Elemenope. QRSTUVWXYZ.
Yep, that's right.
Oui. Anyway, my references this week... No, that means if...
Si, senora.
My references for this episode are Atlas Obscura.
I apologize for that.
Well, it was fun. We tried. Bye, everybody. Grand Palms Resort, PawleysIsland.com, US Ghost Adventures, and, of course, Wikipedia. Because I had to kind of delve through different local legends and lore. So the story. Are you ready?
That's just a fun alliteration right there.
It was. I'm teaching poetry right now.
Local legends and lore.
That could be the midweek thing instead of local legends and lore.
Listeners, now you have a third option to vote on.
Mini Hexes. I think local legends sounds like it's going to be in Pennsylvania.
Local legends and lore.
Yeah, we're gonna. That's
Tonight
what it is.
At 9 on the WB. Local legends and lore
with your host.
With the most.
Oh boy.
Welcome everyone to Local Legends and Lore.
I keep bringing the microphone closer.
This is Pawleys PJ.
Stop. Oh boy. How long could you keep that going before your voice really starts to hurt?
No, I'd be fine.
Oh, would you? Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd be fine. I do this every Tuesday.
No, you don't. All right. Anyway, the story. South Carolina. When I think of South Carolina, I think of beaches. I think of warmth. I think of south of the border and alligators. I think it's not Fayetteville, North Carolina. However, I do not think of hauntings. Or I didn't think about hauntings. Until now. Here we go.
I don't think of Sons of Beaches.
Sons of Beaches? That's good. South Carolina has an incredibly rich history because of colonialism, slavery, and the Civil War. We cannot deny that lots of bad stuff went down in South Carolina. However, one place in particular, Pawleys Island, is super haunted. So what, where, when, how, why is Pawleys Island? It's a small island.
Wow.
In Georgetown County, South Carolina. Now, as of 2010, the last census, the population was a whopping 103 people.
Holy crap, somewhere smaller than our town.
I know. The earliest known inhabitants of the island were the Waccamaw and Winyah people, two Native American tribes. Fun fact, their history goes back over 10,000 years.
That's pretty incredible.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
But alas, the first Europeans, the Spanish, showed up in 1521. And like every European colonial imperialist story, with the Spanish especially, what do you think
all kinds
happened?
of lovely things followed.
Yep, no surprise. They had a devastating impact on the tribes. The Spanish captured and enslaved the Native Americans, and those who were not captured starved to death when their farms and hunting grounds were seized by the Spanish. They also died from the many European diseases the Spanish brought with them. Hooray. Sadly,
colonialism
at its finest.
The New World. Look how beautiful it is.
As we take things. Sadly, the Winyah disappeared by 1720, most likely due to the death of the rest of the population. We don't have any stories about a mass extinction of them, like we didn't go out and kill them, like the Conestoga here in Pennsylvania. However, the Waccamaw still exist today. So you can.
I was going to say, I've heard of the tribe name before. So
they're still raring and going. Now, Pawleys Island is known as a local beach resort area, and in truth, the water is pretty comfortable and lovely from May through October yearly. You can also get your crabbing and fishing on.
Yes.
Actually, it's one of the oldest vacation spots on the East Coast.
Huh.
Pretty neat. So if you want to go relax, huzzah! Except, that it's haunted.
Maybe that's more of a reason to go.
Exactly. The first place on the island that's haunted, Alice Flagg's grave, which is in All Saints Episcopal Church Cemetery.
Okay.
This is an extremely popular legend on the island, and a bit of local lore, too. So, who was Alice Flagg? She was a lady born into the upper class in the early 1800s. According to legend, though, she fell in love with, a lumberman.
Wow.
Did you just choke on a drink and say lumberman?
A little bit.
I'm not going to cut that. At least
Did not see that coming.
At least it wasn't a juice pouch. So anyway.
Oh, do you want me to get a juice pouch?
No, we don't have any.
Yeah, juice box.
Oh, darn. Nope. A lumberman. Tisk tisk. Alice's brother.
Al Lumberman. Yeah, we know him.
Dr. Allard Flagg is her brother. Obviously disapproved of her choice.
Allard Flagg?
Because this lumberman was below her station. Well, since the brother realized they were together, he forced the man away. But Alice continued to see the man secretly and even became engaged to him. When Dr. Flagg found out, he demanded she give the ring back, and he sent her to a boarding school far away in Charleston. Don't get. Unfortunately...
I have something I want to say, but...
Nope, not allowed to. Unfortunately, she contracted malaria in her boarding school.
Oh my.
And was sent back home to recuperate, because her brother's a doctor, if you didn't know. Unfortunately, she died. So good job, brother.
Yeah. Way to doctor, brother.
It was the 1800s, but Upon her death, Dr. Flagg found the engagement ring tied with a ribbon to the underside of her dress. Apparently super angry, he tossed the ring into the marsh. Now, according to another version of the story, because there's many of this legend, another story, he found the ring tied in a ribbon around her neck while she was still alive and dying from malaria, and he threw it across the room, and this made her get sicker and sicker until she died. She supposedly spent her last days begging for the ring. When anyone would walk in there, she'd say, please find it, no one can find the ring. And then she dies. So when she dies, her family dressed her in a white gown, of course, not uncommon for the time period, and they buried her. You can visit her grave. It's simply marked Alice. That's it.
Oh, wow.
Pretty apt. But while there, people have mentioned feeling a pull on their wedding rings. Others have stated that they have seen a woman in a white dress in the cemetery and or the marsh, depending on the legend, looking for something, most notably the ring. Still others say that they see her walking out the front door of her former house in her white dress with one hand clutched to her chest. To appease her, people bring flowers and tokens, but apparently she'll always be brokenhearted, no matter what they give her. Because she never married the lumberman, PJ.
Hmm.
At her gravesite, there is actually a belief, too, that she will grant you wishes. Superstition says if you start at the right bottom of her gravestone and walk around it 6 times counterclockwise and then 6 times clockwise, stopping at the letter A on her marker, you can place a token of recognition upon the resting place, make a wish, and it will be granted.
Huh. I don't think I'd trust that.
What? I mean, it sounds like there's a genie in Alice's grave.
Which, if you know anything about jinns, they're demons. So
whoa.
Don't do that. Or don't accept wish grants.
Or
ever.
Do it and then tell me how it goes. Because I'm not going to do it.
Find a monkey's paw. Don't touch it.
Put it back.
It's bad for you.
Is it though? But people be like, maybe. All right. Also on Pawleys Island, the second place, the Litchfield Plantation. Apparently, this island's big enough to have a plantation.
Wow.
It's the whole area around the island, too.
Yeah, the surrounding area.
So, this plantation, it's a very small story. They say there's a ghost at the plantation who is a friendly one. In fact, the ghost is Dr. Henry Tucker, a member of one of the last families to own the plantation. Many people have reported seeing him in the house's blue room, and no one yet has felt intimidated by him. So he ain't a baddie, he a goodie. In addition to him, they also see strange lights there, and the ghosts of maids walking around.
But do they make tea?
I mean, it's not Laura's house. So I'm going to go with no. Laura has a better ghost? Had a better ghost?
Had.
Yeah. But anyway, that's a very short one. That's all I got for that one. Now, a third location.
I mean, that's creepy enough. Seeing the weird lights, like.
Yeah, I have questions about
orbs.
that. Yeah. Is it orbs?
Yeah, it sounds like orbs.
I guess so.
Which, I mean, that'd be creepy enough to see an orb floating around the house.
I suppose so. Anyway, a third location on the island is the Pelican Inn.
Okay.
There are quite a few ghost stories surrounding the Pelican Inn, including stories of ghosts of 2 Boston Terriers.
Oh my.
Doggies. Woof woof.
First off, I feel like all beach towns have to have a Pelican Inn.
Thank you.
Right?
I agree. Yes. Because that's better than seagulls. No one likes seagulls. For some reason, we like pelicans more.
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, back to the Boston Terriers. It is said that these 2 dogs were once owned by an old caretaker. However, one of the dogs died when it swam into the ocean to save a drowning boy.
Wow.
I mean, a Boston Terrier is kind of small. I don't know what I was thinking it was going to do.
It's like throwing a teddy bear out to a drowning person. Like,
it's going to be okay.
He's got the heart of a champion.
Oh, a little scrapper. Anyway, the dog, unfortunately, of course, died from this heroic action, and the second Boston Terrier died soon after from loneliness.
I mean, yeah.
Like where the red fern grows, I guess.
I was just thinking even of our cats and things like that. Usually when, you lose one, if another one's close to it,
yeah,
it's going to pass shortly after. That's why you buy a kitten
and it's okay. Toby has a new bestie. Once Archie was gone.
Yeah.
Back to the doggos. People claim to see the dogs and hear the dogs barking while at work at the Pelican Inn.
That'd be so annoying.
Because they're small. It's a Boston Terrier.
You can't tell to be quiet.
Anyway. The Gray Man is also tied to the Pelican Inn, and many people who work there have claimed to see him on multiple occasions. Employees also have reported sightings of a woman dressed in an old gingham gown. So the assumption is that she's probably someone from the antebellum South, because based on the design, it probably would not be a servant. It wouldn't be a maid.
Oh, yeah.
But the Gray Man, okay? This is where it hits. This is it right now. You ready?
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. So finally, the last haunt I want to discuss is the Gray Man of Pawleys Island.
The Gray Man
of
Pawleys Island.
Perfect.
Tonight on Midweek Monsters.
No.
Dr. Shanna.
Local legends and lore.
Dr. Shanna tells the tale of
the Gray Man.
The Gray Man.
You're doing great. For our first episode, we're rocking it. Anyway. The Gray Man is the most famous ghost from the Pawleys Island area, And if you ask any local, they'll tell you that if you see him, then you need to get out of Pawleys Island in a hurry. Go on, get.
That's not good.
That's because anytime anyone has ever spotted the spirit of the gray man, a horrible hurricane has swept through Pawleys Island shortly after.
Oh, it's like us in tax season. Whenever. Oh, we filed our taxes. Brace yourself. Something bad's gonna happen.
But yes, he's like a harbinger of bad weather, and so people take heed. He is said to have wandered the coastline for nearly 200 years. His presence is believed to warn of hurricanes, but other dangers from the sea as well.
Cthulhu.
I wish. But no. The gray man is always spotted along the beach wearing all gray clothes. In some accounts, he speaks to people, but in others, he just appears in front of them and vanishes. However, for those who know the legend of the gray man, this is more than enough of a warning. And so depending, they actually have pictures too. And in the pictures, you don't see him. It's just this like gray shade. You can tell that he's like wearing a hat, and that's it. There's no face. It's just almost like someone took a gray crayon and just scribbled where it should be.
Oh.
So I'll show you the picture later. But he really is the gray man. It's just this gray shadow.
Interesting. Okay.
Now, in some stories, people have seen him like wave at them. And so they think that he's like, kind of calling them in. And when they get closer, he just disappears. But I do have several stories here. So I want to read a couple. So there are several stories behind the ghost of the gray man, but no one is quite certain who the man actually was. The most common origin story of the gray man is that in 1822, a young woman was staying on the island with her family when she received word that her loving fiancé was going to come and join them there. She was absolutely delighted with the news, preparing all of his favorite foods and setting him up a bedroom. So yeah, yippee! But also, I'm gonna cook and cook and cook and make this room look pretty. So she's like super excited. However, his plans changed. On his way to the island, he challenged a few of his servants to a race on their horses. As they raced, he saw a shortcut through the marsh and decided to take it. So what happens next is because he was a cheater, in my opinion. His horse stumbled in the tepid, moist ground, and of course he was thrown off the horse. Despite his servants' efforts, because in every story there is at least one manservant trying to pull him out of the marsh, he sank down into the mud and basically suffocated to death.
Yeah, I mean, mud is not something to mess around with in that kind of situation.
And we're on an island, so I would assume it's kind of like quicksand, too. It's going to suck you down.
Yeah, there's a terrifying story of the Battle of Passchendaele in World War I, where the mud was so thick that if you stepped in it, that's it. You were done.
Oh my gosh.
And the troops would just walk on by without you as you slowly sank and watched your friends just pass on by.
Wait, they left you there?
Yeah, they couldn't get you. They couldn't get you out.
Not even with a rope?
No.
Really?
Yeah, and
Where was this at?
Passchendaele.
Where's that?
Germany.
Okay.
And so they had to build these wooden pathways across the marsh, but then the Germans knew exactly where to shoot.
Yeah.
So they would just aim down these pathways. So there was just a lose-lose no matter how you did it.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I had never learned about that.
Uh-huh.
So it's World War I?
Yep.
Huh. Did you learn that from your House
Hardcore History.
Oh, I say House of Leaves, I thought, but okay.
No, that was from Hardcore History. It's a podcast, everyone. And that specific series is called Blueprints for Armageddon.
Oh, okay.
It's awesome.
Blueprints for Armageddon. Oh. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I learned something.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. I would never want to be in quicksand because of the fear of that. Because when you fight, it pulls you down even faster.
Yeah, quicksand isn't too bad, though. Because if you've ever played with... it's called oobleck. Yeah, if the scientific term is non-Newtonian fluid.
Yes.
But it's not too bad, like, to get out of. You just have to move slowly, get horizontal so you can get on top of it, and then you just kind of roll off. But yeah, it's scary.
So but in this story, he basically just drowns in the marsh.
Oof.
Yeah. So again,
I believe it.
She's making all of his favorite foods, and he decides to be a cheater. The news of her fiancé's death nearly drove the woman mad, and she had visions of him day and night.
I cooked all this food!
Her parents were more than concerned with their daughter's hallucinations and decided to send her to Charleston to see a doctor immediately. Within hours of leaving the island, a hurricane hit the coast and destroyed most of the island, leaving almost all of Pawleys Island residents dead.
Woman scorned. Some wrath right there.
What can you do? A lesser-known story identifies the young man as possibly being Plowden Charles Jean-Noret Weston, the original owner of the Pelican Inn.
Oh.
But when I clicked on that link to read more, it took me to nowhere.
Nice.
So that's all I got for you. He could be Plowden. Moving on. These days, locals and visitors alike know to get far away from the beach when they see this gloomy apparition. People claim to have seen the gray man before Hurricane Hazel in 1954, prior to Hurricane Hugo in 1989, and again in 2018 before Hurricane Florence made landfall. Everyone who has seen the gray man says that he warns them to leave the island right away. Residents who are wise enough to heed the gray man's warnings always find their homes undamaged after the storm. Encounters with the gray man have taken place before every major hurricane that has struck the island for more than 200 years. Such was the case of Jim and Clara Moore, who encountered the mysterious figure just 2 days before Hurricane Hugo roared ashore. And this is Jim talking. He says, "We were taking a walk late in the afternoon, which we usually do," and he was talking in an episode of Unsolved Mysteries. "You see so many people walking on the beach at that time of day. That particular afternoon, we only saw the one, and he was coming directly toward us. When I got within speaking distance, I raised my hand to say hi, or beautiful evening, and he disappeared." Hurricane Hugo decimated Jim and Claire's neighborhood, but the couple's home suffered little damage. Claire attributes their good fortune to the gray man and to the Lord. It's the South. So.
Yep.
But yeah, so isn't that kind of cool?
Wow.
So, nice people. One fisherman spotted the gray man in Murrells Inlet. I think it's pronounced Murrells. It looks like Murrells. Inlet, a coastal town about 10 miles north of Pawleys Island. And he said, "I've been out on my boat nearly the entire day and the sun was beginning to set. I was going to do one more sweep of the inlet for oysters when I noticed a man standing alone on the shore waving to me. As my boat drew closer to him, I realized he wasn't waving at all. He had his hand out as if he was telling me to stop. He was dressed in all gray and looked like an old pirate. I couldn't believe what I saw."
Yarr.
My name's Plowden.
This ship belonged to me now.
I literally rubbed my eyes and looked again, and he was gone. A few hours later, a powerful storm rolled ashore, pounding Murrells Inlet with heavy winds and lashing rain. The fisherman believes the gray man appeared to get him out of the water and out of harm's way. And if you go on to Reddit, there are so many stories of the gray man. Like, it's just countless.
Wow.
And people have videos and images of it, too. Like, this is one thing that I actually kind of believe.
Yeah.
If he's just a harbinger for bad weather, sure. That's fine. Maybe he's like a sentinel or
It's
some
like
kind
a
of
more permanent Mothman. Because
Yes.
Mothman was only for like that brief time period and
Yeah.
then just gone, you know?
Because he's not real.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Sorry, Indrid, wherever you are.
Cover your ears. Don't listen.
Gonna make you cry. Anyway, but yes, basically, if you could like go online, you can type in the gray man of Pawleys Island, and there's like pictures and videos and people telling their stories. Like I just pulled 2.
Challenge accepted.
Okay, but it's just kind of cool, and like so I kind of see him as this like I want to say like a positive sphere, like just like a ghost sentinel, if you will, to protect people, because maybe he himself couldn't be protected.
I spelled gray with a Grey.
That's fine. And Pawleys Island is Pawleys.
Oh, wow. That's...
Pops up right away. Yeah.
Well, like, there's some definitely fake ones where it's like a photoshopped, like, stick figure on the beach.
I found him!
But then you scroll down and there's like... Yeah,
there's legit pictures. There's some videos on YouTube as well. So if you're interested, listeners, you gotta hop online and look up the gray ghost man, if you will, gray man of Pawleys Island. But if you're interested in seeing some spooky stuff while also getting your tan on, head out to Pawleys Island in South Carolina this summer. I just might. And that's all I have for this episode of Local Legends and Lore, Midweek Monsters,
or
mini hexes, whatever it's going to be, with Dr. Shanna. I think we're going to have a lot of fun on Wednesdays. Look at us being together and telling spooky stuff.
Wow.
It's so nice to spend time with you. That's all I got.
And Al Lumberman.
And aluminum. Oh, boy. Anyway.
Oh, boy. Is right. Because you just made a dad joke.
Oh, boy. Well, anyway. So the plan is, listeners, that these episodes will be between 25 and 30 minutes long, which is half of my usual episode, which is about 58 to 1 hour long tops. So it's going to be a midweek short thing about mini stories that I could put two together and make one episode, but I kind of like doing many episodes. Yeah. So if you are happy hearing me and PJ twice a week, let us know. You can comment on Facebook, message me, text me, email us. Yes. And I think on our Facebook page, I'll make a whole different category, on the page for Wellhouse where it says mini episodes. I think I'll start putting them there.
Oh, okay.
Or they could just be online for the podcast, or we get your podcast.
Yeah.
And not on the website. They could be a special just for our listeners.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
this is all brand new.
It's all in the feed. So if you subscribe through a podcast app,
it's going to be on there.
It's going to be on there.
I mean, for gamesoverboard.com.
Oh, gotcha. Yes.
Anywho.
Yeah. And something I noticed, and I was wondering if it put people off from emailing us. So I wanted to make this announcement here. When you email us through the website, because some people just don't remember gamesoverboard@gmail.com. If you just go to gamesoverboard.com and hit the contact button, all you have to do is put in your first name. Because you have to. I can't
get rid of that
box. Your return email address, and then there's a box that says I give them permission to send my email to you or something like that. But we don't have a subscription list or anything. You're not going to be put on the list. We don't save anything like that. So, don't feel when you check that box, you're giving us any information. We're literally not going to do anything with it. So if that's putting you off from emailing us, just know that, we don't have an email list. We're not going to fill up your inbox with
just message
junk.
us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Facebook is the way to go. We're old school.
But I just wanted to put that out there. So
straight up. All right. Well, have a lovely week, and we'll see you Sunday night. And as always,
think spooky thoughts.